right, Impact Live, and that's what the title is going to be. I would tell you this. This wasn't a bad show at all. It was pretty good. And it's leading into Sacrifice, which is usually all right around this time of year. They don't really do too bad of a job leading into whatever done. It could be Under Siege. It can be, in this case, Sacrifice. I would tell you it's beginning to look like it's going to be a decent build. But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it. And I don't care if anybody likes it or not, and I don't care that some people will not agree with me, because people don't. Do I believe the content currently is good? Yes. But do I believe what's going on in the back is good? Questionable. I say it again, questionable. For what we've gotten out so far, it gives you questions how the company's working in the background. And I'm saying this now because I don't need to say it at the end of this review. I'm saying this now. It'll take about a minute or two more, hopefully. I'm not going to take 10 minutes to talk. I am still showing concern. I don't care what people say. It goes by what we know. And what we go and right now know, as much as people keep saying 100% that there's a wonderful shakeup, wonderful shakeup does not always mean 100% a wonderful shakeup. And people, and I'm sure one person who doesn't agree with me is telling me to look at somebody else, to look at this insider. Guess what, my friend? For anyone who is listening to me, an insider just gets information that's fed to him that could be legitimate, might not be fully legitimate because it could be rumor. If you believe it's insider 100%, you're foolish. You always question an insider. You're supposed to question. If you think 100% everything an insider says is correct, you're foolish. Listen to everyone else and find out if it's correct. Going by one source is dumb. You go by multiple sources. I've looked at 22 websites. I've seen other wrestling reviewers and other podcasters. I'm not saying I don't. And I'm not going to tell you which ones I look at. But I listen to them all as much as I can and take what I believe might be true until it's announced. And hearing one insider has the scoop on everything, nope, don't buy it. I go by what I can see. And right now it's a big question, what is going on in TNA? A pay cut, which shouldn't happen because they really don't need it at this point. You lose the current president after barely a year. Now you got a new president, 2 new executives, and a former director of ROH. This is what you got right now. It could be good. It might not be good. But it would be stupid to actually think that everything was going to run smoothly. Everyone believed that the original president, but after being removed from, after taking Scott D'Amore's position, was going to run everything great. Why did he leave? You're stupid if you think that everything was hunky-dory. Because if he was doing great, he wouldn't need to leave. So I need to say that. Doesn't mean that anyone who disagrees with me, I just chew them out. I'm just saying simply, don't go by just one person. I'm one person. Other people have their own opinions. Listen to them all and make your own damn mind up. There you go. All right, opening. I'm going to say this. Seeing that Full Sail University is the place they're working. Yes, we already knew this ahead of time. They're going to go to Full Sail and they were going to go live. I'm fine with. I didn't really have a problem other than one. And I said this last year. What prevented them from going live last year? I want to say this to anyone that says, oh, this is wonderful, they've gone live. Well, guess what? They could have gone live last year. They could have done this last year. If they wanted to test the waters, they could have done it last year when they first turned to TNA. That really would give even more interest to the product. Now, doesn't take anything away from what's happened here at Full Sail. And I want to make this clear. We got a good amount of content. And I'm not against the content. There may be things that can always be tweaked, which they should be. But I'm telling you right now, that could have happened last year. I know I'm right. They could have done it last year. They just didn't want to do it last year. Now we get it here. Not bad. But last year would have been great. It would have been better. Now, What do we get here? Wesley's Boys. I'm not even going to mention their names because they're the Wesley Boys versus the Rascals. Now, we're still getting this feud between the Rascals and Wesley, along with Ace Austin being included. But then we're going to get... Here we go about this. You look at what's going on in NXT. You look at what's going on with Ricky Saints. He's no longer called Ricky Starks. He should be Starks, but he's Saints. They want to, let's make this very clear, this is still a company that likes everything under their banner. They want to monetize everything. Unless you're a very big name where they know they can't monetize absolutely everything, but they make an agreement with you that when you're with them, they only want to monetize your stuff. But when you're gone, they won't sell your stuff. When you're gone, if you don't have notoriety, they could still probably sell your stuff. Maybe. If you sign an agreement. So seeing Ricky Saints dealing with Wes Lee is not going to be a bad thing, but it's kind of like, I'd rather see them focus on just Wesley working with the Rascal and Ace Austin, not just Wesley focusing on Ricky Saints, which looks like it might be just a one-off match. And I'm hoping it isn't, because Ricky needs more. But this might be all they're going to go to. You don't know. Match was fine. In the end, Wes tried to interfere and Ace stopped him, and I'm not surprised. Rascals are going to win here. They shouldn't win, but due to the fact the Rascals are a more seasoned team, and due to the fact that Wesley's Boys are still very, very raw and still don't really know what their character is, even though they are good wrestlers, they just don't have a character. Wesley is their character right now. They need development. They need time to develop. But the Rascals have already been developed along with Ace. They have no problem. But now they're going to have a match, and I believe it is at Sacrifice, a 6-man tag. It seems like they're doing that a lot when it comes to NXT and TNA. It just feels like it. For certain people. Nothing wrong with it. But this is what we got right now. Second match. Rosemary versus Ling Lang Lee. Now, I'm like... Let me give it to you like this. Still love Rosemary. Still love the woman. Ling Yang Lee. I'm not against her, but she's been gone for a while. She just came back. And then she went away again and came back. She went away the first time. And now she's back, probably after she was probably working indies or another promotion. I wish they would do more with her. This is one of the problems that TNA has. They don't have a lot of knockouts, and what few they do not always stay. A lot of times they go to other promotions to work. This is one of the problems they currently have. Counting if the agreement, either for those women to be signed for 6 months to a year, depending how long, if they don't renew, you don't have them all the time, particularly with the tapings. So seeing Ling Yang Lee, I'm like, wasn't she supposed to have a feud with Savannah Evans? And there is no feud. Savannah Evans whooped her ass, and we barely had any interaction with them. I would have thought she would go after Savannah Evans, but she hasn't. So now, and I know about the Battle Royal, but it just feels like they need more. I kind of wish Savannah Evans just ended this feud they're supposed to have with each other, but he didn't. They just ended it like it never happened, and now we get Rosemary missing the face of Ling Lang Lee after she won the match clean. And then we get Tessa Blanchard getting pissed off. And I'm doing it right now. After they go in the back, she's with the doctor, Ling Lang Lee, trying to get the mist out of her face. You see Tessa wanting her to be tested, to be checked over, and she's telling the doc, fuck that bitch, deal with me. And he says, no. So she says, well, there's repercussion because you don't want to do anything with me. And she goes outside, goes to the fans, and says, well, because of what's going on with the doctor, I'm not wrestling. And then this is where things are good. You see, when you take reality and use it in wrestling and try to turn it on its side, a lot of times it can get over. If you do it right. And when it comes to Tessa and the controversy for years she's had, they decided with probably Tessa's permission, easily, unless she pitched it to them or they pitched it to her or they both collaborated. It was decided to use a controversy that... See it like this. Tessa's controversy, which is still not fully understood, or better yet, 100% gone, is being used in the storyline. People are cheering for her. People are booing her. People are telling her to get out of the damn building. People are saying that she's racist in what was being stated at Full Sail University. And fine. This is exactly what needs to be done if you want to get Tessa as a heel. Take what's going on in controversy in real life and use it and then turn it on its side to try and make it into a storyline. And there's no problem with that. It's the best way to try and deal with a controversy. Do I believe Tessa is a racist? It doesn't really matter. Do I believe that she's not treating people right? It doesn't really matter. Do I believe she needs to be punished for what she's done? It doesn't really matter. My beliefs and my thoughts don't matter in the situation. What matters is this, that Tessa came back. So far, there's been no noise at all. I've checked. Currently, nothing's happened yet. So that's a good thing. And it was decided to take the controversy, make it a storyline, and hope that confronting it will get Tessa over either as a heel or face. Doesn't really matter, as long as it's done. And that's what they've done. And look what happened with Santino. He got pissed. He said, look, you were supposed to wrestle. You don't wrestle. Guess what? You don't wrestle next week, you're fired. He screams at her. But what is the woman's name? Moore was in the ring waiting. So who comes out? Marsha, you see me botching. This is what I'm worried about. How long has she been back? Barely since December. Earliest is maybe the beginning of January. And we see her back. She goes through Jordan Grace and beats her. And now Marsha Slamovich comes out. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm sorry. This is not about the controversy. This is about trying to build Tessa better. She just came back, whether you believe in the controversy or not. They're trying to use the controversy to get her over. Now you're seeing Marsha Slamovich appear out of nowhere. And I'm sure you're going to say, dude, that doesn't mean she's going to beat Marsha. It's not the point. I would rather see her go through the roster first. Not to interact with Marsha at all. Because, yes, Marsha went in the ring, beat Moore, and then Corey Jade came out, whooped that ass, and then basically now she's got a shot at sacrifice to get that damn title. Fine. But still, I did not want to have any interaction at all with the champ. We don't need it right now. If you want to cut the controversy down a bit and hopefully not make it possible that people are going to think that, because remember, it was an executive who made that decision in Anthem to hire her. Whether you like it or not, she was hired by someone in Anthem, not in TNA. That is what was stated. Thing here is, if you're going to go down that route with her, and you don't want the controversy to take over the entire thing, and you're using the controversy to try and get her over, and it's working, having a deal with Marsha right now is not wise. It's going to make a lot of problems, because many people know that many wrestlers who sign contracts, if they're asked to come in, more than anything, they ask for certain things. I'm sure Tessa asked, I want to be fucking champion. There's no lie about it. I was champion. I got stripped of that damn title. I want it back. And to be honest, anyone can do that. But, and I say this clearly, but, having this much controversy behind her where they have no choice but to try and use it to get her over, that's not a great thing all the time to hear. That there's a wrestler with a huge amount of controversy to the point where you got to use the controversy to get them over. So what do you want? You want to try and minimize any type of problem that could be added to it. And seeing her interacting with Marsha is not right. She should not be interacting with her for at least another month or two easily. and it's barely been a month. Now they're showing Marsha saying, I want to see your match, and I can't wait to see you do what you do. That's unwise, because it's like they're trying to rush the storyline between the two and try to give Tessa the chance to get that damn title earlier than she should. She should wait 4 or 5 months before she even has a shot at that title. If they do it in 2 to 3 months, that's wrong. That's bad booking. Not because of the controversy, but because if you really want to make this person feel important, you should do something. Even with Naomi, and I'm not even saying Naomi wasn't rushed, because she was, but at least they didn't rush it so heavily that they didn't do something with her in between when she finally got a first shot at trying to getting a title. Because she did get one try at it, failed, and then tried again. But they made sure in between the time that she did try to get the title, she had several, at least 2 or 3 matches easily before she even had her shot. And the key here is this: at least she had matches and the development of her character. She only just started her character. If they throw that title at her within 2 months, I am not in it. I'm sorry. I'm still saying it. Let's move on. We get the no DQ match. Leon Slater versus JDC. The system had to help him. Now, was it good to see the match wasn't bad? It was good. It was good to see that JDC is helping Leon Slater to get over. Yes, I'm very happy about it. Did I enjoy most of the spots that were there? There were a few spots. One of them was seeing pretty much Leon Slater putting a hand into a folding chair, snapping that bitch closed onto JDC's hand. That wasn't bad. The flip over the turnbuckle and the ring post, that's what Leon does all the time. I kind of hope that JDC didn't get a little bit of concussion, because his butt landed right on here for JDC. So they usually will collapse to make sure they don't get too much of an impact, but the way he landed was a little rough, so I'm kind of hoping there isn't an injury. He looked like he was fine. In the end, what do we get? JDC winning because he got help. Hardy's coming out, and then the Kingdom comes. Umafemi comes. He helps out, but more to mess with Moose. He decides to go into his bubble because they are setting this up. They're going to build Umafemi going into a match with Moose. Now, where they're going to have the match? Will it be on their next pay-per-view? Don't think so. It'll probably be at Sacrifice, I think. But it's possible. I believe Stand and Deliver is the only other pay-per-view at this time, but I could be wrong. I haven't checked. But I'm sure they may have it on NXT TV, I think. If there is no pay-per-view and they're not going to do Sacrifice, then this will be pretty much a match on regular NXT TV. And I'll say this again. I've said to someone in the comments, I am worried how the booking's going to be. I don't want to see Moose badly jobbed out. I understand he might job. If it's going to be on NXT TV, I don't see Moose winning that damn title. I don't. I would be shocked if they allowed it. But do I believe he'll job? Yes, he's going to probably job. But I'm hoping how they're going to make him job is not going to be too bad. Now, let's make this very clear. Moose is not going to give 2 fucks. He has no problem jobbing Umafemi. And I want to make this clear to anyone. Same with Rosemary. Rosemary has worked in NXT. She don't care that she lost. She was happy just to be there. But as a fan of Rosemary, I didn't like how many times she had the job. It did not fill me with joy seeing that. But it was how it was. Moose is going to be the same way. He's not going to care. He got a chance to go to NXT, and if he's going to go over there for a one-off match where he's going to lose, he's fine. Look what he did when he went and did a pay-per-view in AEW. He lost there too. The only difference between AEW and TNA, well, Impact Wrestling at the time, was there was no cross-platform pollination. None. It was only AEW doing this, nothing on the other side. And then, worse yet, you only allow once you get in a major pay-per-view. Because I know that they had the Motor City Machine Guns over there at least maybe twice in AEW. And they really wasn't for a pay-per-view. It was just some matches on Dynamite. And the key here, Moose had his shot at the world title from AEW. Here, he's also getting a shot at the world title in NXT. Wonderful thing, but comparing the two companies, it is obvious you're getting a lot more cross-pollination than you would in AEW. They screwed up seriously when they started working with Impact Wrestling. They didn't do anything about promoting Impact on their own show. Make it very clear, I don't mean that they just said Impact Wrestling existed. I mean they should have let their own wrestlers, their own talent, cross over like what's going on here, which I complained about, and everyone else did not listen. I was one of the few people who complained that AEW is not doing it right. Where is the cross-platform between the two? It is only going one way, and then people say the one way didn't do anything. Well, of course it didn't do anything, because it was one way. I believe JD and Alex were talking about it, saying that, oh, Impact Wrestling getting all this, they ain't getting anywhere. Well, of course not. How are they going to get anywhere if there was nothing going over the Dynamite? Now you're getting it this way. I may still have my questions about how things are run in the back. I made it very clear. Does not mean I'm 100% against it. I am saying, look at what's going on and see it for yourself. Something's happening in the back that's questionable. Does not take anything away from the work that's being done by the wrestlers and any general storylines. It may not all be perfect, but it is still working. But still, question. Moving on. Let me give it to you like this. The Colognes. Primo Epico, I believe. And it's Orlando and Eddie versus Joe and Elijah. Let's make this clear. The match was fine. Elijah was the one who pinned Orlando, and I believe that was Epico. I'm trying to remember which one's which. I haven't seen the Colognes in years. In years, I haven't seen them in so long. I've forgotten them. When I first saw them, it was a surprise. I'm like, oh shit. What do you know? Primo Epico. But now they're called Orlando. They're called Elijah. Elijah. Really? The Plains Drifter is back. And they just had their match. One of the Colognes ate it, and it was Elijah who got the pin. Now, let me give it to you in this respect. And I know you're going to say, dude, what about when it comes to Eric Young? You going to say anything? No. I'm not going to say anything. I want to wait until next week to see when Macklin does a response. I'm leaving it. I'm making it clear. I did remember about his segment with the Northern Armory, but I'm leaving it because I want to see what Macklin says next week. But here, opening with the repeat concert, seeing that pretty much Orlando and Eddie comes out, and then Elijah comes out, and then there's a fight. And here's a problem that I have, a slight problem. You got two guys who can sing. One is a lot more spontaneous than the other. Look, Joe Henry did play in a band, so it's not like he doesn't know how to sing and stuff. But I think between Joe Henry and Elijah, who can do that type of stick, Elijah's going to be a bit better than him because he looks like he's more spontaneous. It doesn't mean that Joe Henry can't sing, but he's got to rehearse. He's got to practice. Elijah, for years, he did that same type of stick, and he had to do it on the fly. And you can't compare the two. One can get it done very well with a little bit of practice. The other one also can get it very well and can do it probably spontaneously. Now, it doesn't mean he'll do it perfectly. Neither one of them can. But you got two guys now who play guitar. Two guys who sing. One that's heavily over as a champ. The other one who just looks like he might have just gotten possible contract. But it's still a question that he has a contract yet. I don't know. I have not checked the dirt sheets. So after this, I may go and check to see if Elijah is now signed with TNA. I believe that we're considering it or negotiating with it. He's now on the live show. So he has no rematch clause. The key of this entire situation is he signed, and how long is the contract? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? Hard to say. I'm not saying I'm against Elijah being part of TNA. They were all for it. The fans in Full Sail University walk with Elijah. They went straight to Elijah, not Elias. Because some people just go with the name from WWE. But they went straight with what he said. Hello, my name is Elijah, and I want you to walk with Elijah. Straight into it. They didn't even have a fault. You did not hear anyone say Elias. They said Elijah. So that was great. And I'm going to tell you, that was a good thing to see. More than what happened with, I'm not going to say the segment with First Class was bad, but I didn't like it. Not that it was bad, but I just personally didn't like it. I felt like there was something missing, and I didn't like it because there was something missing. Doesn't mean the segment wasn't bad. It was okay, but it felt like it was missing something. But when you look at this whole show, it was good. Do I still believe there's issues that could be worked out? Yeah. And I'm not fond of what's going on possibly with Tessa. Seeing what was going on with Elijah and Joe Henry, that's something they're going to have to work out, because they're now two guys who can sing, two guys who play the guitar. And they're going to have to be careful if Elijah is signed or if he's just doing tapings. We got to see what's going to happen. Do I feel great with the setups that's going to be set for like Ubafemi and Moose? Somewhat. I'm glad to see Moose dealing with Ubafemi. I'm glad that Ubafemi came to the Impact Zone. But the question's going to be, how is the booking going to be either on NXT TV or whatever more segments they do on TNA, if they're doing cross-pollination, which they are doing. But this is just me. Peace.